Hey there, Jonathan here, coming at you with a quick review. This time it is the Rocketfellers, not the Rockefellers, which I'll get to that in a minute. The Rocketfellers. Tomasi and Francis Manipal with Rob Lai, principal creatives on this one. So the intro for this is in the picture-perfect 25th century. The Rockefeller family, living a disconnected and emotionally distant existence, discovers a terrible secret. In their hands is the fate of humanity. Hunted down, the Rocketfellers enroll in the Time Zone Protection Program and escape to the present-day Earth. That'd be our time. If they can't find a way to trust each other in this strange, ancient, air quotes, world of today, they and our future will perish. So that's the basic premise. So this is a ensemble character-driven storyline. Again, primarily focusing on this family, the Rockefellers. You got 3 generations. You got the grandparents, parents, and children, including a little dog. It has very much a kind of Fantastic Four, Challengers of the Unknown vibe to it, which is really cool. The artwork, which is by Francis Manipal, is quite well done. The faces are very well drawn, likable. The artwork is dynamic. Panel work is nice. He uses lots of different angles sometimes to show kind of movement and action, which is nice. They're not your traditional panels. They're I may call them like borderless panels. So there's no black lines. And so that kind of gives a different vibe to it. This is very much a sci-fi story. It's not your typical superhero fare. And so I think that different take on the panels helps signify that this is not like a regular superhero book kind of a thing, even though it is, in my opinion, modeled a bit after the Fantastic Four, especially the kind of the family aspect, generational family. Again, I can't say enough good about the artwork, along with the colors too. There's an interesting mix of color holds with the line art, and the colors themselves are very bright, vibrant. Again, very sci-fi. I'm trying to see who did the colors, actually. I'm assuming it's Francis Manipal because there's no one else listed as colors, so it's got to be he did everything, which is impressive. Wouldn't be surprised if it's digital, but can't say for sure. Still very good, very dynamic. The line work, lots of swoosh lines with speed and such. There's a fair amount of full-page splash here and there, but not overdone. The first half of the book is your cold start to a story. The family's running away from the enemy, and then some things happen. I won't get into the details or spoilers. Then it switches over to after they've done their time traveling, their life in our modern day. Then there's this scene where they're jumping out of a helicopter, and I'm not exactly sure why they do it. That's just one thing that was a little bit odd to me. That I guess they were training, but it wasn't made super clear. And then at the end, we see what the MacGuffin is. Again, I won't spoil it. And so, of course, I'm curious to see what happens next. And that's one of the best things I can say about this book, is that it definitely is, although it is not breaking new ground story-wise, the art definitely makes up for any deficits in the story. And in the story is not bad, it's just not terribly original, you could say. I do the characters, and enough that I want to read more about them, and I hope that all these characters have different character arcs and developments. And like I said, the MacGuffin is interesting enough that I would like to read more to find out what's going to happen next. So yeah, so that's the Rocketfellers, not the Rockefellers, if you're familiar with that family name. There's a joke about that in the book. So yeah, so that's it. The Rocketfellers from Image. This was issue 1. Came out a few months ago, but I've been seeing it in the comic shop, and finally decided to pick one up. Fortunately, they still had a first printing of the first issue, which they've already gone into a second printing of the first issue, so I was happy to be able to do that. So that tells you something about the book, right? So hopefully it does well. So I'm excited to see. I'm always happy to see different types of stories succeed, just superhero stories. Although that's the bulk of what I read. I love sci-fi, so I'm happy to see that's more geared that way. So anyway, that's it for this little review. I've been Jonathan, and you've been listening to Comic Talk Cafe.